All right, welcome to another episode of Nard Knows. And of course, I'm your host, Leonard Davis Jr. And this episode, we have a quarterback at the helm, Isaiah Weed, newly signed quarterback for the Helvetic Mercenaries. And I got a lot of stories to share with him, man, but I'm gonna bring him in. How you doing today, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great, man. Glad to get you on the show. And I've definitely been following your career with the Cologne Centurions along the way. Let's just go off with the new signing with the new team. How excited are you to wear a new jersey?
Oh man, I'm pumped. I get to be in that red and black again. That's my favorite colors. Oh yeah, I'm excited to get down to Switzerland and work with them boys.
Now, I mean, changes happen as we can see, recently, Zach Edwards is no longer a musketeer after a great season, but you see that throughout the year, after every offseason, no matter the league, players come and go, regardless of what they shown on the resume. You know, taking back to your time in Cologne, what are some of the memories that you have there? You scored a lot of touchdowns.
Yes, sir. It was a fun season. My first year in the league in the ELF. Made a lot of good memories. My favorite memory probably have to be being a part of that the comeback victory. I think is the biggest comeback in ELF history against Frankfurt Galaxy, and yeah, that was a great one. But made a lot of good friends, lifetime friends. I think I can always go over there. Um, but yeah, it was a great season. Good season to work off of as my first year, but it's nowhere but up from here.
Now that you signed with the Mercenaries, I'm sure you took a look at the weapons that you're going to be having, and then also talking with the coaches and kind of like picking their brains on what they're thinking about bringing guys in. Uh, but you do have a signing that's pretty interesting. Keelan Cole, former wide
Yeah.
receiver for the Jaguars, and we all know that catch that he had, in the experienced wide receiver to name at least one guy. But what are you looking forward to with the weapons that you do have so far?
Man, we're going to be an explosive offense this year, that's for sure. Especially with Coach Herf at the helm calling the plays. I'm really confident in his play calling abilities. He's had really good offenses in the past. He's got a good background as well. But Keelan, man, he's a dog. He's proven in the NFL, and it's going to be really exciting to work with him, especially with some of the young players in Switzerland. Milan Spiller. We got a good running back coming in, Tyrell. Some good O linemen. So yeah, it's going to be a fun season. Yeah, just be ready for the explosive offense.
Now, let's take it all the way back. You're from Seattle. You know, you were a D2 quarterback, and no one would have known that watching you on film, and I played D2, so, and a lot of players go to the Hall of Fame that play D2, HBCUs, all of it, so it really doesn't matter if you can play, they'll find you. But your story is very specific because you did come from D2. Talk about the confidence level that you had to maintain while kind of going through a roller coaster to get to where you are now.
Oh yeah, it was for sure a roller coaster. I mean, at D2, as you know, as a D2 guy, you don't have all the resources that other guys would have at a D1, with nutrition centers and, big huge gyms to work out in, indoor facilities. We didn't have all that. So you kind of got to get it out the mud. You got to grind for everything you get. Take every opportunity as you can. But yeah, for me, I actually played at two D2 colleges. I started at Minot State my first two seasons and then transferred to Northwest Oklahoma State. So it was definitely a bit of a journey. I've been around the country a little bit before I even, stepped out and played outside of college football. But yeah, it was a good journey. But yeah, it's just a different grind coming from smaller college. But there's definitely a lot of good guys that came into the league or Hall of Famers that came from D2 because, they come from the same cloth. They got to grind for everything they get with little resources.
What have you learned about yourself throughout this journey? So many ups and downs, especially you just growing off the field as a young man. What are some of the things that you learned about yourself through the adversities and the wins?
Yeah, man, there's lots of adversity for sure. Having that underdog mentality, you got to always persevere through anything that's thrown your way. Always stay humble and be respectful. Those are the main things, but it's all about people, I think. Like, the more people skills you have, the better you can communicate and make sure everyone's on the same page, the better quarterback you'll be as well.
Hey man, and quarterback you are left-handed, wearing number 7. that only smells one guy that we all know that was left-handed and one and where's number seven? What does Michael Vick mean to you, man? Because you obviously you got a lot of spark just like him.
Yeah, for sure. That's my favorite quarterback growing up. That's the reason why I wear seven. I'm left-handed. So when I was a little kid watching him, I always try to emulate his moves and do what he do, but that's tough. But it's big shoes to fill. But that's my guy. I try to do everything I can on the field, kind of like him. That's what I model my game after. And there's a lot of good quarterbacks in the league now that I like to compare myself to as well, like Lamar Jackson or Pat Mahomes. But yeah, that's my guy, Mike Vick. That's where I rock seven.
Walk me through the mentality of a quarterback. Let's start off with the beginning stages of your the stages that you're right now. You're going to a new team. You have new guys that you have to build chemistry with, especially the wide receivers and the running backs. The offensive line, getting to know them. What are their strengths and weaknesses? In this stage right now, what are you preparing to do as a leader of the team?
Yeah, so it's always different stepping into wherever you're going, a new place, new faces. You got to build some chemistry with the guys early on. I've been talking to my guys in the off season, making sure they're grinding, making sure their workouts going good, sending little videos of little releases or whatever I can to my wide receivers just to make sure we're on the same page. Um, but yeah, especially with the big boys, it's important. Right when I get there, I'm probably going to take them out to a nice little dinner. You know, got to make sure the hogs are fed. But yeah, every week, every practice, they're going to learn early on that we stay in after practice, and I'm gonna be there before working. So always got to put in the extra work and make sure those guys know that giving my all to them.
What are some of the major components that a quarterback needs to be successful?
Number one would be leadership. And I would say communication after that, just making sure, as a quarterback, you got to know what everyone's doing on the field, right? And you got to trust everyone to do their job. And accountability is important with communication, you know, depends on what kind of leader you are. I'm not the most vocal guy, but I like to lead by example. But yeah, just making sure everyone's on the same page and being patient with everyone. Everyone has different learning curve and how they like to learn, or whether it's visual or doing it themselves. But just kind of figuring out what every guy is doing like that, how they like to learn, and kind of walking them through the way and get better together.
Now, outside looking in, every team from every league, they have guys designated to play certain roles. But as a quarterback, I would only presume that even though there's a system in place, trust has to be built over time. What is that like when you have a guy that is, supposed to be the main guy on paper, but you have to like continue to create trust in other roles with other players? What is that process like?
It's all just based on the reps, man. I mean, the more reps we get in together, the more you figure out what guys are good at and what more you need to work on. That's where also the accountability takes place. Is if I see someone that is usually good at one thing and they're slacking at one thing, or they're kind of going through the motions, I'm gonna let them know, and then we can pick back up from there and make sure everyone's full go all the time. But yeah, man, it's just you gotta show that you trust guys in order for them to trust you. That's the main thing.
As a quarterback, you also understand what it means to bounce back when mistakes happen. You got the pressure of the players, especially players who may want the ball in a specific moment or a specific scenario, 2 minute drill, what have you. But then you also have the coaches on your back too, because you're an extension of them. Where's your balance? How do you stay balanced throughout it all? In a game like you had with Frankfurt, where, the game's on the line and it's a very close game.
Yeah, that's where that trust steps in. I just gotta trust that my guy's gonna be in the right spot on a certain route. And I really love when a wide receiver is like that. Like, give me the ball. Like I need this drive. Give it to me. That's what I want my guys to be like. So that's always a good sign when someone's like that. But yeah, it's just all about trust, man. Just making sure that on a certain route, he's gonna hit his yard marker. He knows exactly where the ball is gonna be, and that's all done in the season, in the off season with practice and building that chemistry early on, and that's what I plan to do.
As a left-handed quarterback, is there some level of, I wouldn't say difficulty, but adaptability when it comes to guys who may be used to a right-handed quarterback?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the ball spins the whole other way. So like today I was just training with my boy Willie P who plays for Prague. And yeah, it was funny. First throw, he's like, "Man, that left-handed spin is different." And that's definitely a fact. It comes in the trajectory is a little bit different than the right-handed quarterback, but I think the guys get used to it after a couple of days of throwing. But yeah, it shouldn't be no difference. It's just, a little bit different with the spin and, the curve, but my job is to make sure it gets there.
Oh, dope. So you was training with Willie Patterson?
Yeah, that's my boy. Yeah, we live pretty close together.
Nice. He's actually on the agenda to be on the show
Oh
very soon.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
definitely.
that's funny. Small world, man. It's a small
Heck
world.
yeah,
I would have never known. Tell him I said what's up for sure. We'll be
definitely.
connecting soon. Uh, but I mean, what would it have been like to? So here's the thing: you got Keelan Cole, right? But then Aaron Jackson leaves before you arrive. Yeah, I mean that would have been a crazy duo. But what are some of the guys that you do know on the team that you're looking forward to playing with?
Oh, definitely their young receiver, Milan Spiller. He took home some hardware last season, as a rookie in the league, and I think he's got a lot of potential. And with Coach Herford's offense, I think we're just gonna really see what he can do this season and get the ball in his hands early. But yeah, man, with Aaron, he's a great player. I would have definitely loved to play with him this season. Unfortunately, he's gonna be headed to a different team, but that arrives a new opportunity. We got in Keelan Cole. I still got a job to do, and I still got a team to play for, and so we gotta roll with the punches.
Off the field, man, what keeps you motivated? What keeps you grounded in those times where you're doing the grind work right now? But even during the season, like what keeps you motivated? What keeps you going? What's your why? What's your how?
Man, the biggest thing with going overseas playing football my first couple years, I would definitely have to say like spreading the knowledge of football and just giving everything I can to all the youth trying to grow the sport over there. It's a little bit bigger than just the game, especially playing in Europe as an American football player because obviously the sport is still growing over there and I would love to be a contributing factor to that. And I like to play as long as I can. I know I got a couple more years in me at least, but yeah, just helping the youth. I'm definitely planning on, traveling around, holding a couple camps this season, and in the off season. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, just the experience of, working with young guys that maybe never got to meet an American football player or, the kids that look at us like NFL stars, but it's really fun to be a part of that growth.
And I mean, since I've been covering the ELF and all its players, it has definitely grown. But you've been in other leagues as well from the GFL. Walk me through just the process. Obviously, the competition gets better as you go along, but just off the field, a lot of people, especially in America, we don't really know. We're kind of blinded to what goes on out there. What has been your experience?
Man, so my first year just not knowing anything really, it was just really to go out there for fun and to help coach the youth team when I was over there in Denmark. I've been a lot of places. I've been Austria. I played football there. I played football in Serbia, in Germany, in a couple different places. I went GFL 3, GFL 2, and then the ELF. Yeah, it's been quite the journey, but you know, everything's always the same with football. It's just, you know, trying to trying to teach or not teach, but like show by example, how the game should be played and what things, to look forward to work on. And yeah, basically just helping others, really, just serving others. That's what I'm about.
Wow, wow. And that explains why you've made it so far, man, because you're it's bigger than you. And that's what a lot of people don't realize is in life, wherever it's sports, whatever it is, when you're motivated by something more than yourself, I mean, God opens up a pathway for you because that's what we're put
Mhm.
on this earth to do is to help each other to make this world better. Um, a few more questions for you, man, because I appreciate you so much for your time, dude. What's
Yes,
it like
sir.
when you leave your family, dude? Like, I mean, I'm currently in Utah and I literally just came back from visiting my family a week ago, and it was re-energizing just seeing like family, and it was like walking out of a time machine, seeing little cousins grown now. It was crazy,
Yeah.
but for you, you're gone for a long period of time outside the country. What is it like to come back home and get that restart?
Man, it's always great coming back home to the family. Yeah, for me, ever since college, I've been playing kind of far away from home, so I'm a little bit used to it, being away from home. But those first couple years that I ever did that, it was definitely tough. But I got a good support system in my corner, and my family always supported me. Everything I wanted to do or did, they were always right there with me.
Was it tough on them when you told them, "Hey, I'm going overseas," which can be scary for any mother, I would presume.
Yeah.
But what was that experience like when you finally broke it to them and said, "Hey, this is something I'm actually considering."
Oh, they were all in for it. I mean, being the loving family that they are, they definitely gave me their full support from the very beginning and know that I'm very passionate about football and doing the things that I like to do. So they were all for it, right from the beginning. And I'm excited for that game that they're going to come out and see me this season as well. They always try to make it at least to one game every season. But yeah, it was definitely hard on all of us when I first went to college, and then as we get used to it, it's a little bit easier every time. But it's nice being back home with the fam for sure.
Were you scared at all? I mean, like just going overseas and understanding that you're implanting there and obviously it worked out for you looking back. But I can only imagine as a young man, as a young Isaiah Weed, you kind of didn't know what you was getting yourself into a little bit outside of the football aspect.
Yeah, for sure. It was definitely a little nerve-wracking, but me being the type of person I am, I'm an extrovert. I like to talk to people. Um, yeah, very, very heavy on the communication side. So I'm not, never like totally scared. Maybe I was a little nervous, but I do pretty well in environments that I don't know anyone and nobody knows me. So always be yourself and be respectful and humble, and everything should go smooth.
What kind of quarterback are you, man? Like when you put on the film, obviously no one can catch you, but what are some of your natural abilities? And then what are some of the things that coaches help you elevate?
Yeah, some people like to say dual threat, and I like to stay in the pocket as much as I can because ain't no better feeling than throwing a deep touchdown pass. But whenever I got to get out of that pocket, I do what I got to do. But working within the game plan is what I try to do. But relying on my legs sometimes it calls for it whenever there's a blitz that we didn't see, or some breaks down in the pocket. You always got to get up out of there. But yeah, I would say elusiveness is definitely key for any quarterback in this day and age. This very modern style of football, spread offense. Um, but yeah, I would say it's always important to have another specific set of skills that can get you out of bad situations.
Mm, got you. Got you. Now, are you big on utilizing your tight ends? Like, I know tight ends could be the best friend. I know they say running backs are running game, but I feel like tight ends need a little bit more love, especially in the ELF.
Yeah, man, I love throwing to my tight ends as long as we can get some tight end sets in. We got a tight end coming in that we haven't announced yet that I'm excited to work with this season. He should be a good target for me. But yeah, man, I love tight ends. I love lining up under center sometimes and going 12 personnel or whatever it is, 13 personnel going under in the goal line, doing a little play action boot or whatever, getting my tight end some love. But they got to do the dirty work. They got a hard job. They got to block and they got to run routes. But that's a real athletic position they got to be in. But yeah, I love the tight ends for sure.
One of the hardest jobs that I've seen up close that quarterbacks have to do is memorizing the playbook. Walk me through your steps of because every coach is different, every scheme is different, terminology is different. What is the key to being able to be that much that great at memorizing the playbook when you get different playbooks all the time?
Yeah, well, for me, like I've been in a lot of different offensive playbooks, systems. I've ran pro style, I've run the spread, I've run like a West Coast style. So for me, it's like all the plays are always the same. You won't really run into any plays that are totally new. but it's just verbatim. People call things different. The concepts are named different things wherever you go, but it's always the same with like the structure of a playbook. You got the formation, you got the motion, you got different adjustments, and then you have the play itself. But yeah, it's kind of simple for me. How my head works, I like to go through all the run plays first, and then all the protections. As a quarterback, you got to know what the O line's doing. That's very important. And just understanding defenses will help you, learn everything better. It comes simple to me just because I've been in so many different styles and different playbooks with, long terminology, long play calls, like two play calls in one. And then you have the very simplified spread offense that makes it easier for everyone. So I would say ours is this season a little mix of everything, and we're just going to be doing, what's working that day. Coach Herf, um, he likes to say, whatever it is during the day, it could be 20% run, 20% pass, and 60% of whatever else is working that day. That's what he likes to say. So, I kind of like that, and just basically doing whatever working. I mean, that's how we're gonna get it done. So.
All right, we in the huddle. Give me a play call that was probably one of the most longest play calls. I guess give me a pro style call and then give me a spread offense call.
All right, so one call that I liked was a deep shot at my first college. It was the formation was Pro 2, key Zin 216 strong X climb Z post, and that was a play action, wide zone play action with a deep post and a crosser from the X. That's a very basic play that's ran by every team in the NFL. Just basically max protect, two routes, read the safety, go deep. That's one of my favorites.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And then give me a spread offense play.
Ooh, spread offense. In college, in my second college, we ran a really simple spread offense with signals and all that kind of cool stuff with 2 minute offense. My favorite would probably just be doubles right touchdown, and we call touchdowns four verts,
Mm,
four verts. So you
okay.
know where we going with that.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's end zone. End zone. Hopefully they're not in cover four on that one.
No,
Here's man to man.
they better drop out then. They better drop out and read that on the outside.
Oh man. Okay, man. I got one more question for you, man. When you're at the line of scrimmage, what are some, I mean, obviously film plays a huge role in how you prepare. But once you get out there, they can disguise things, they can come up with something new, they can blitz you a little bit more than they showed on film. What are some of the keys that you look for to determine, where you're going to go with the ball? Pre-snap.
So, yeah, pre-snap, first things first, I always look at my safeties, see what I got, middle of the field open, middle of the field closed. And then from there, you can look at leverage eyes of the of the corners, and then look at the front, see what we got. Do we got one guard covered, two guards covered? Is it four down or three down? What kind of front are they in? And then see where the adjustment of the linebackers are. If they're scooted over one side, then there could be potential hot from that side. It could be a blitz. But yeah, you always just gotta go through a little procedure in your mind from top to bottom of what your indicators are going to be and then where your progression is going to be or who your force defender is that you're reading or whatever like that. But yeah, it's always important for a quarterback to have a plan.
Nice, nice. And what is your plan to make the mercenary fans happy this season?
It's just going to be done with wins. We just got to string together some wins and then everything else will take care of itself. I mean, that's my goal is just to win every game and win every week, win every practice. I mean, but yeah, that's just how it goes. I don't really care about yardage or touchdowns. At the end of the day, if we get the dub, then that's all that matters.
Hey man, well said, brother. We're gonna drop the mic right there, man. Appreciate you so much for taking the time. I already know there's a bunch of splash plays coming. I'm looking forward to this season. Every year, it just seems like ELF is just getting better and better, and more competitive. And players like you was adding to that brand. So stay focused, stay blessed, stay healthy, my guy.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me.
knows.